prayers, fire, and rituals is interconnected. We are taught that through the energy of the divine word, through the energy of the divine light, and through the agency of rituals, unity with the divine is attained. Coming to the fourth pillar, Sadra and Kasti. Some call it Sudra and Kasti. These are our sacred ventures, which every Zartosti child is invested with the age of 7. This, ladies and gentlemen, is our Sadra. Allegorically, just as Aura Mazda is set to clothe himself in the cosmic robes of the heavenly firmament, each Zartosti is similarly clothed with Sadra and Kasti, which is mandated to be worn from initiation until death. These are called the fortress of angels, which keeps evil at bay. Sud means beneficent, Reh means path. I beg your pardon. Therefore, Sudra indicates a morally, spiritually beneficial path. Kasti is the equator tied at the waist where evil or the lower desires are kept under control for putting at risk the noble virtues residing in the heart and the brain. Kasti acts as a barricade between the divine and the Satan. The Sadra is specially attached with 9 seams, and a Kasti is woven with significant 140 strands of wool, doubled into 72 strands. It is tied around the waist 3 times as a reminder to follow good thoughts, good words, and good deeds. Fifth pillar, Dokhme Nashini. We believe that the elements of nature are to be kept pure and defended against pollution for the sake of good health. To keep the elements of air, water, fire, and earth pure, we consign our dead to the towers of silence in order to expose the bodies to the natural element of solar radiation. Birds of prey like vultures, who are nature's incinerators, help, but the main agency within the Dokhma, which works even in the absence of vultures, is solar radiation. Dokhmas only contain stone and iron. They are not built of bricks or any other materials. Iron contains magnetic lines of force which surrounds the unseen contagion and stop this from spreading outside the marked circuit in the surrounding environment. There is no other way or means to surround and decontaminate unseen contagion. Our wise ancestors knew of these properties and energies thousands of years ago and have given us the rituals and religious institutions based on these natural laws of purification and spiritual progress. Sixth pillar, purity rules. The spirit is all pure. The spiritual world is also always pure because it is devoid of any matter which is negative. To attain to the it is essential to transform matter, that is darkness and ignorance, to spirit, that is light and wisdom. Therefore, we are given certain rules of purity in a book called the UinD. It is very similar to the book of Manu of the Hindus and also the Leviticus of Judaism. To achieve any union with the divine, it is essential that purity of the environment, as well as the physical and mental purity of one performing the ritual, is maintained. There can be no communion with the divine who is pure in the presence of any impurity, and therefore we are prescribed certain spiritual disciplines such as taking specific bath, having certain foods, and maintaining seclusion. Purity is the best from birth and next to godliness. The final pillar is preservation of the genetic seed. Our religion does not accept proselytes because we respect all religion to be equally great and all are manifested on earth according to the will and divine plan of the Aura Mazda. The soul, being immortal, is also omniscient. It knows before birth the time, place, parents, and religion it will be born into to learn the lessons of life. One cannot change one's parents or the time of birth or the place of birth because one feels it could have been better if birth was taken at a different time in a different place through different parents. The blood traits, genetic tendencies which one inherits from one's parent at birth can never be changed and the same blood will flow for the entire lifetime. Similarly, it will not help any individual to change the name of the religion one is born in, because it is not the name of a religion which makes a person spiritually better. It is in following the path laid down by the prophet of a particular religion which will make a person spiritually richer and greater. If one religion is not greater than the other, why then this conversion? All religions are established according to God's will, and hence our religion does not accept proselytes. We also do not accept interreligious marriages. The Orthodox Parsis certainly don't. A child born of parents who follow two different cultures, religions, and traditions grow up following neither religion of the parents. The religion is always compromised, and life without religion is morally bankrupt. Hence, we believe that preservation of the genetic seed is essential to a living moral life which is enhanced spiritually by religion. As I perceived in my own personal lifetime, I honestly believe in faith, hope, charity, and love. It is said, "He that hath no faith, no explanation is possible, and he that hath faith, no explanation is necessary." Hope is the positive frame of mind where we know that wherever there is life, there is hope. Charity. My siblings and I were brought up to be charitable in thought, word, and deed. Render help in any form to the downtrodden and the needy. When we talk about the concept that was delivered to us by Reverend Father Robbie of love, truth, justice, equality, fraternity, and Zoroastrianism, Zoroastrianism is probably one of the most life-affirming beliefs in the history of mankind. Nowhere else would you find a doctrine that exhorts its practitioners to embrace life in all its myriad hues. The ultimate purpose in the life of practicing Zoroastrian is to become an Ashwan, a master of Asha, and to bring happiness into the world. Asha, in its purest sense, is the divine truth. A life lived in grace by a Zoroastrian incorporates several elements within. Love. In order to truly attain this divine truth, a Zoroastrian needs to love not only God, but all of God's creation, namely mankind, the animal kingdom, and nature. Love, my dear friends, is one of the most powerful tools because it transcends the sovereignty of all nations. Let me say that again. It transcends the sovereignty of all nations and all its people, be they yellow, black, brown, or white. Justice being a dualistic religion, Zoroastrianism, the concept of justice is deeply ingrained within the tenets of the faith. All Zoroastrians firmly believe that in the cosmic battle between the good and the evil, good shall prevail. The same belief is carried forward into our daily life, where justice is seen as an embodiment of the divine power. And let's look at equality. Asha cannot be attained, that means divine truth cannot be attained without a genuine sense of empathy for all living beings, in a spirit of tolerance, understanding, and of oneness in all. Fraternity, the basic goodness of humanity, a strong belief in the divine goodness of all beings, and hence the need to eschew the ego and realization that we are all part of the same divinity. The importance of helping one's fellow man through thoughts, words, and deeds, the overriding importance of charity and helping those in need comes to the fore. A poet has aptly described that if you hurt someone, you get hurt yourself in a beautiful little couplet where he has said, "Jo jalata hai kisi ko khud jal jata hai zarur. Jo jalata hai kisi ko khud jal jata hai zarur. Are shamma bhi jalta raha parwana jal jane ke baad." Father Robbie, grateful thanks to you for allowing me to participate in this discourse. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Shariarji, for enlightening us with the pillars of Zoroastrian thoughts, namely good words, good thoughts, and good deeds, advocated with prayer to the Supreme One God, Aura Mazda, and man. Indeed, your words did ignite within us the power of light and fire, radiating through Zoroastrian faith to promote peace and harmony in the world with hope and clarity. Thank you. I would just like to make an announcement. Since we have restricted the number of participants in Zoom, we request the others to join us on YouTube Live, and the link is also being shared in the chat box. Please share it with our other fellow pilgrims who would like to attend this webinar. And we request you all to please join us on YouTube Live. Now, we will have a song from the Zoroastrian faith.
Might be Jainism now, may not be Zoroastrian, it might be Jainism. That is already played. It's already played just before the talks on Jainism. We shall play the prayer song of Jainism.
Zoroastrians, come rejoice and sing in joyful strains. May the Master as he race live forever in grace. Our beauty's rich and rare, charities beyond compare. Good thoughts, good words, good deeds. Ahura, thank you for these. Renowned in every land, we toil with hearts and hands, bringing joy to one and all. We leave our footprints in the sand. Renowned in every land, we toil with hearts and hands, bringing joy to one and all. We leave our footprints in the sand. Zoroastrians, come unite, holding hands with pride. Ahura, bless us all to spread peace and love worldwide. Zoroastrians, come unite and hold our hands with pride. Ahura, bless us all to spread peace and love worldwide. Peace and
Zoroastrians, come rejoice and sing in joyful strains. May the Master as we race live forever in grace. Our beauty is rich and rare, charities beyond compare. Good thoughts, good words, good deeds. Ahura, thank you for these.
Renowned in every land, we toil with hearts and hands, bringing joy to one and all. We leave our footprints in the sand. Zoroastrians, come unite and hold our hands with pride. Ahura, bless us all to spread peace and love worldwide. Zoroastrians, come unite and hold our hands with pride. Ahura, bless us all to spread peace and love worldwide. Spread peace and love worldwide.
That was a melodious rendition. I now take pleasure in introducing Dr. Abraham Karikam, the former principal of Marthoma College, Tiruvalla, Kerala, where he worked for 28 years in the Department of English. He holds a PhD in English and also interreligious studies. He is the coordinator for the URI South India Sri Lanka zone and Secretary General for URI Asia region. He has authored 15 books. His notable works are the concept of salvation in the Upanishads, the Bible, and the Quran, and the interfaith novel Super Souls Revisited. We welcome you, Dr. Abraham, to felicitate the gathering. Over to you, sir.
Hi, greetings to all of you. So happy to meet you from Kerala. I am Secretary General for URI Asia region, and I learned that Chavra Cultural Center New Delhi is celebrating the World Interfaith Harmony Week in collaboration with several of our educational institutions and other agencies. So I congratulate Father Robbie and all his teammates for the persistent efforts in creating harmony or a culture of peace and harmony in the whole of India. And I'm grateful for the support that I receive from his end for all our activities in the South India region and in the Asia region of United Religions Initiative. As we all know, religion is for peace, but the reality is otherwise. We have so many conflicts in different parts of the world, and it was actually the main reason why the United Nations asked Bishop William Swing, the founder of United Religions Initiative, to start or to initiate a kind of religious movement where we can all meet together and discuss our issues. So URI is like United Nations. It is like it is United Religions, a platform for all the religions of the world to come together and celebrate our diversities. So we have been active in the world for the past 21 years. Now we have our presence in 112 different countries. The main thrust areas, of course, are peace building, and we work in the field of nuclear disarmament and eco-justice, climate justice, and to protect the rights of the indigenous people, and so on. So this week is very special for us because I understand the UN has separated a whole week only for Interfaith Harmony Week. That shows the importance of the harmony among religions in order to build peace in the world. So we have a whole world community who are joining us, and we have umpteen projects, hundreds of projects in different parts of the world, and they are all uh, doing a lot in order to promote peace in this world. So here in South India also we have a lot of programs, a series of programs like intercontinental interfaith quiz and inter-school quiz competition based on holy scriptures and seminars, webinars, and so on. So it's my pleasure to wish all the best for all the efforts of Chavra Cultural Center New Delhi. We have been working closely with the Chavra Cultural Center Cochin, which is actually one of the cooperation circles of United Religions Initiative. And I remember with gratitude all the great services rendered by for our late father, Dr. Albert Nambiar Parambil. He was a guru for me in the interfaith arena. And so I wish all the best, and I learned that Chavra Center is flourishing in New Delhi, and the presence in the capital city will make a lot of difference. And thank you so much. Thank you, Achan. Thank you, all of you. Bye.
Thank you, sir. Your concepts on building peace and harmony and related activities, they have truly inspired us. Now, we will have a prayer song from the Jain faith.
Namo 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 Namo
नमोकार मंत्र है न्यारा किसने लाखों को तारा
नमोकार मंत्र है न्यारा इसने लाखों को तारा
इस महामंत्र का जाप करो भवजल से मिले किनारा नमो अरिहंताणम नमो सिद्धाणम नमो आयर्याणम नमो उवछायाणम नमो लोए सव्वसाहुणम
नमो लोए सर्वसाहुणम्
येषु पञ्चणमुक्कारो सव्वपावपणासनो मङ्गलानं च सव्वेशी परमं हवै मङ्गलम्
नमो 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 नमो
I take pleasure in introducing our guest of honor, Mr. Sanjay Jain. Sanjay ji is the Secretary, World Jain Confederation, Secretary, Sarvo Bhadram Prashwat Charitable Trust, Rajasthan, Trustee, Kushagran Prashwat Trust, Chhattisgarh, ex-trustee, Atram Vallabh Samrak, Shiksha Nidhi, New Delhi, and ex-member Governing Council, Bogilal Lehand Institute of Indiology, New Delhi. We welcome you, sir, to address the gathering. Over to Sanjay Jain, sir.
Sanjay ji, are you in? I mean, the message is coming from Sanjay Jain, it seems. I think he couldn't rejoin. Now we shall see. We'll move with our present guest is here, Malini SP, and Sanjay ji will join us later, I hope.
I take pleasure to introduce our guest of honor of the evening, Srimati SP Malini, State Head Smart Girl Community. She is a learning professional in IBM India. She has over 20 years of experience spanning in the corporate world and print media in India. Her key skills are delivery management, project management, instructional design, writing, editing, and communications in the learning, publishing, and communication verticals. She has to accredit a host of multilingual clients and leading a global team at IBM, a certified trainer for NGOs, an organizer, volunteer, and theosophist, a postgraduate in journalism and mass communications from Mumbai University, and also holds a degree in science, a course in computer software from RVTI, Central Government of India, Mumbai. We are greatly honored to have you with us, ma'am. Over to Srimati SP Malini, ma'am.
Unmute,
Thank
please.
you.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you. Am I audible?
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am, you are.
Okay, actually. Jai Jinendra. Is it echoing?
A little bit. No problem. We can manage.
Just give me a minute.
It's okay,
Good
Malini.
evening.
Very good evening.
Is the audio fine?
Yeah. Perfect.
Sorry, I presume I'm audible now?
Yes, yes, you can.
Yes, thank you. Jai Jinendra, Namaste, Namaskar, warm greetings to all. I congratulate Chavra Cultural Center for this World Interfaith Harmony Week, which is being celebrated across the week. And we're here to meet in a small community. So very happy to be here with my fellow brothers and sisters. Actually, the topic, what Father Robbie had indicated was to focus on the impact of Jainism on the art, culture, literature, in the Indian society. But, being a theosophist and my other background, I would like to little broad base this topic of discussion. And I hope that's fine. So I want to, we have an august audience here who are well conversed with the details in terms of contribution, in the field of art, culture, architecture. So I would rather, have a little more open discussion, which shows us how this is most relevant in today's time. So as you all know, Jainism emerged as a social reform movement in the 6th century BC and later established itself as a religion. And if I were to remind you of the origin of this religion, it was basically to counter the rigid, orthodox, religious religion at that moment, which was ritualistic and non-inclusive. So I would like to bring home the point that Jainism opened up to people of all caste and caste, creed, religion, was non-ritualistic, and was opposed to dominance of any one religion, and thereby contributed to our inclusive society, contributed to a secular nation. Now, this has created a great impact in the long run in our society, in all spheres, be it in the overall culture of the society, art, architecture, economics, politics, even politics. If you see back then, some of the emperors, taking the principle of ahimsa, became more kind-hearted and focused more on the overall well-being of people across different communities, and even the concept of charity within the religion. Many of you may be already well conversant with the basic doctrines, but I would just like to quickly run it by. Especially on the spiritual side, the 5 doctrines are, I think, very significant. First and foremost, that of ahimsa, non-violence, non-injury in any form, be it our speech, thought, action, which is most relevant in today's time. Satya, truth. The truth always triumphs. Asteya, that is non-stealing. Aparigraha, non-possession, not desiring for something that does not belong to me. And brahmacharya, celibacy, non-adultery. All of this is very much relevant even in today's time, whether you look at it at the level of an individual or you look at it holistically as a society. Next, I would also like to make a mention of the 3 Jaina Ratnas: right faith, samyak darshana; right knowledge, samyak jnana; and right action, samyak charita. This provided a very good ethical and moral base to the individual. It empowered an individual to live peacefully in harmony with, whatever the other circumstances. While speaking about this, it would be incomplete if I don't make a mention of some of the greatest contribution towards the world's philosophy, the concept of Anekantavada, then, Nayavada, and Syadvada. Anekantavada, as you all know, emphasizes that the ultimate truth and reality is complex, and hence we need to take into account the differing and opposite attributes. Can you imagine if we were to do this as a society, the kind of harmony that we can create amongst us? Next, it definitely allows, especially in today's time, it allows for religious tolerance, allows for multiple, diverse, contradicting viewpoints to hold your own. We can agree to disagree and still live, as great friends in great harmony. Syadvada in Jaina metaphysics is a doctrine where all judgments, it says, are conditional, holding good in certain conditions, circumstances, or senses. So it is expressed by the word syat in Sanskrit, which says maybe, which means you cannot say something is the absolute truth. It really depends on the circumstances, conditions, and from which perspective you're looking at. The other doctrine is the doctrine of Nyayavada, which is basically about relative pluralism. So that again accounts for making space for different viewpoints, and it encourages us to question, investigate, and find the truth for ourselves, rather than base our view on blind beliefs or blind acceptance. So really, you see how logical and how rationalistic is the view, the outlook. Now, moving further, I would like to say, I mentioned about an inclusive society, secular, how it has contributed to an inclusive society and a secular nation. The respect for all life forms, kind of brings to point, I think one of our panelists also spoke about interdependence. We need to respect all life forms, all species, including the animal and the plant kingdom. And can you imagine if we do that, how it promotes the love for nature and preservation of environment? In the end, I would like to see how this ties in with some of the global level problems that we are faced with today. Thirdly, equality. Jainism was liberal to women, which unfortunately, gender equality is still an issue even in the 21st century, so much so that United Nations has, under its sustainable development goals, gender equality as one of its significant goals. So obviously, if we leave the 50% of our, world population behind, how do we expect to make progress? Whether it is at the level of a family, where a community, society, nation, world, we have to take everyone along. That's why I would like to, I want you to drive with regard to the equality. Next, prosperity for all. Jainism propagates simple living, minimalistic lifestyle, and charity is a very important factor, be it in form of food, clothing, education. So if you remember back then also, the Jaina scholars actually were involved in education to all the castes and all the religions. They propagated education across different castes and religions. And I would also like to tie this with, if you look at this outlook of simple living and minimalistic lifestyle, and making sure that a significant part of our income is shared with the less fortunate people in the society, this outlook can help us tackle the rising pandemic of materialism, consumerism, which we are seeing so much, not just in the West, now it is catching up in the East as well, like a wildfire, and creating a huge divide in the society. And with this outlook, I feel we can reduce the gap in our society between the rich and the poor, between the haves and the have-nots. And lastly, ahimsa, again, non-violence, peace. As you know, it has been one of the greatest contribution. It has been one of the greatest contribution during India's freedom struggle, in South Africa, and it continues. I feel India has a very important role to play, in the current world dynamics. I would like to wrap it up with saying, if each of us were to follow these Jaina principles, which are universal in nature, if we hold it close to our hearts See, there is nothing as, if you see, it's not really a religious, if you see, it's a universal principle. So if we were to hold it close to our heart and live a life on the foundation of these ethical and moral principles, I'm sure we can address every single problem that the world faces, not just the individual, family, and society, but mind you, the entire world. So be it at the individual level or society, because we will have more love, harmony, equality, justice, respect for one and all, sharing of our resources across the board, trust in each other, well-being for self, family, and society, equitable growth across all sections of the society. And at the global level, I would say it can arrest climate change with our sustainable living. It can help us end the need, as there is more trust built in, it can help us end the need to invest in weapons of mass destruction and rather invest in human development and eradicate poverty from the face of the earth. And thereby bring an end to the terrorism, bring an end to the wars that we are seeing even in the 21st century. Thereby, we could all lead the world towards peace. So I do believe that India has a very major role to contribute to world peace, and riding on such a rich spiritual culture that we have together with all the religions, and Jainism, of course, has its own rich contribution towards it. Thank you. Ahimsa Paramo Dharma.
Thank you, ma'am, for your enlightening us on the 5 principles and the 3 jewels of Jainism in promoting peace and harmony among mankind, and the ideology of being on par even in the present times. Love for nature and its preservation, equality, prosperity, and charity. Above all, the supreme principle of ahimsa. We will now have a dance video from Jainism.
जो युद्ध हरे मैदानों में वो इंसान वीर कहा जाए, जो युद्ध हरे अपने मन में वो महावीर सा बन जाए, महावीर। हालात बड़े ही मुश्किल हैं, पर हिम्मत मैं ना हारूंगा। महावीर की संतान हूँ मैं, फिर बन के शेर दहाड़ूंगा। तूने मुश्किल हालातों में भी मन में अपने धीर रखा, इन कर्मों की बदौलत ही तू वर्धमान महावीर बना। महावीर तेरी संतानों की मैंने लाख दुआएं पाई थी, जब मौत सामने थी मेरे मैंने मौत को आंख दिखाई थी। तूने कितने उपसर्ग सहे, तुझे कितनी आँचें आई थी, जब चंडकोश ने डंक किया तूने दूध की नदी बहाई थी। हाँ मैंने अब ठाना है वो युग वापस लाना है, अंदर का अब वीर जगाना है। जो तूने सिखलाई थी वो बातें अपनाना है, महावीर सा मुझको बन जाना है।
That was a graceful performance. I now take pleasure in introducing Shri Shoman Baby, Chairman of Veritas Media, Bahrain, Associate Editor of Gulf Daily News, and Coordinator of World Fellowship of Interreligious Council, Bahrain, to felicitate the gathering. We welcome you, sir.
I just want to congratulate Chavara Cultural Center, Delhi, and Father Robi Kananchara on organizing the World Interfaith Harmony Week. They have organized a week-long program discussing the contributions of major religions in the world. The concepts of love, truth, justice, equality, and fraternity in each religion are discussed. The discussions show us that the whole world is one family. Service to fellow beings is the main point of discussion. Making others happy and converting minds through caring and sharing are all part of the discussions. I have seen Father Robi doing such wonderful gestures when he was in charge of the center in Kochi. So let me congratulate the center in Delhi on its efforts to promote peace and harmony in the society through art and cultural interactions. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your greetings and good wishes on the concept of sharing. I now take pleasure to invite Ms. Hita K. Vora, student from the Department of Human Resource Management, Providence Women's College, Calicut, to present her views on the concept of love, truth, and justice from Zoroastrianism. Over to you, Ms. Hita.
Am I audible?
Yes.
Yes, you are.
Zoroastrianism is an Iranic religion and one of the world's oldest continuously practiced organized faiths based on teachings of the Iranian-speaking prophet Zoroaster. Zoroastrianism excels an uncreated and beloved deity of wisdom known as Ahura Mazda. As its supreme being, there are nearly 1 lakh Zoroastrians living in India. Zoroastrians believe in one God. Zoroastrians' place of worship are called fire temples. Each fire temple contains an altar with an eternal flame that burns throughout and is never extinguished. Zoroastrianism is not entirely uniform in theological and philosophical thought, especially with historical and modern influences, having a significant impact on individual and local beliefs, practices, values, and vocabulary, sometimes merging with traditions and in other cases displacing it. The ultimate purpose in the life of a practicing Zoroastrian is to become an ashwan and to bring happiness into the world, which contributes to the cosmic battle against evil. The core teachings of Zoroastrianism include the following: the threefold part of Asha, Hamta, Hoksta, Hashvata, that is, good thoughts, good words, and good deeds. Practicing charity to keep one's soul aligned with Asha and thus with spreading happiness. The spiritual equality of duty of men and women alike, being good for the sake of goodness and without the hope of reward. A Zoroastrian is welcomed into the faith through a Navjot ceremony, which is traditionally conducted during the later childhood or pre-teens years of the aspirant. True, there is no defined age limit for the ritual. Zoroastrian faith, which was the official religion of the Iranian people before Islam, continue to employ music in their religious ceremonies and rites. Many Zoroastrian religions and rites are also accompanied by music, regardless of certain Asian Zoroastrian traditions which show a negative approach to Zoroastrian melodies such as pastorals and minstrels before Islam perform of music in keeping with Zoroastrian religious rites is as old as the Zoroastrian religion itself. A review of some historical texts proves that solo and co-music was broadly proved at various ceremonies and occasions in fire temples and other Zoroastrian religious institutions before the advent of Islam. Based on the structure and rhythm of Zoroastrian texts, and especially the gathas, chorus, and group music was considered a very important task by the Zoroastrian sect. Due to the difficulty of the rhythm during the playing of Zoroastrian core melodies, many more Zoroastrian songs have become obsolete and outdated after the victory of Islam. Right now, one can still hear Zoroastrian religious songs in temples and other sacred buildings, such as sun worship temple, etc. In Zoroastrian fire temples and sun workshop temples, normally there are one or two bells. The bells are tolled at certain and fixed intervals during the ceremony. According to the certain records and traditions, the Zoroastrian religious music has greatly influenced the formalities of the Christian titles during the dawn of Christianity. The weight of Zoroastrian religious music is very natural and closely follows parts of speech. The framework of this music is lyrical and harmonic. The cadence of Zoroastrian music is very natural, interconnected, mind, and to a very large extent harmonies with the dialogue of speech, but musical intervals have not been adjusted in such songs. This is all about the arts, culture, and history of Zoroastrian religion.
Thank you, dear, for that wonderful presentation. I think Mr. Sanjay Jain has joined us. So we invite Sir to please address the gathering. Sir, over to you.
Good evening, and my sincere apologies. There was some issue in getting connected to this network, and finally I have got connected. Since we have already lost a lot of time, coming down straight to the topic, love, truth, justice, equality, and fraternity, peace and harmony are issues of concern, not only as today's topic of deliberation, but vitally important in the current global context of ever-increasing unrest, materialistic tendencies, lust, greed, anger, pride, deceit, attachment, jealousy, cheating, and whatnot. Aren't these the biggest deterrents to our peaceful and harmonious coexistence? Dear friends, brothers, and sisters, those who are aware of Jainism would appreciate, while those who are getting exposed to this religion for the first time might be completely surprised, because Jainism is not only one of the most ancient Indian religions, but the core of this religion professes and revolves around these very basic things, that is, the love, truth, justice, equality, fraternity, peace, and harmony. Jainism is a religion which enjoins adoration and worship of jinnas, and vice versa, the religion which is propounded by jinnas is known as Jain religion, or the Jain Dharma as we popularly call it. Followers of Jainism are called Jains, a word which is derived from the Sanskrit word Jina, meaning victor. Jinas are thus those who have performed extremely severe penances, destroyed all sins accumulated during their past births, burnt all karmas, inculcated a spirit of equanimity towards both the friends as well as the foes, attained the status of Vitraga, that is, where there is no attachment or hatred towards anyone, and gained omniscient knowledge, Keval Gyan, as we popularly call it. The Jinas have therefore connoted a path of victory in crossing over life's stream of rebirth through an ethical and spiritual life after conquering the internal enemies, raga and hatred, that is dvesha, thereby attaining moksha or salvation. The history of Jainism can be traced through a succession of 24 Tirthankaras or the Jinas or victorious saviors who have attained moksha or salvation. The first being Lord Shri Adinath or Lord Rishabnath Dev, who is believed to have lived millions of years ago, and the 24th being the Lord Mahavira around 500 BC. Jainism believes that Jainism is an internal dharma with the Tirthankaras guiding every cycle of the Jain cosmology. What if every living thing in the universe had a soul? Not just humans, but also cows and pigs, ants and mosquitoes, trees and flowers, corns and tomatoes, fungi, and even microscopic bacteria. According to ancient Indian faith of Jainism, not only does every living thing have a soul, but all souls are equally valuable and equally deserving of respect and compassion. Now, looking at the core precepts of Jainism, these are known as the 3 A's. The first being ahimsa or non-violence, which is the foundational principle of Jainism. It means non-violence and compassion towards all living beings in thought, word, and action. Second is anekantvada or non-one-sidedness, is the acceptance of all positive views. Anekantvad is best illustrated by the well-known Jain parable of the 6 blind men who find an elephant. They each touch a different part of the elephant. Somebody finds that it is like a tree's branch, somebody feels it's like a fan, somebody feels it's like a rope, etc. So the only way to know the full truth is combine their individual truths and learn from one another's perspectives, a mutual respect, a mutual adoration. The third is aparigraha or non-possessiveness, which emphasizes detachment from worldly goods and desires. In modern life, that means non-consuming or accumulating more than our needs. The Jains are also encouraged to take 5 vows or vratas that teach self-control and restraint, while the super strict versions of the 5 vows are only kept by the Jain monks and nuns. Most of the Jains do their best to keep lesser vows, also popularly known as the Anuvrats. And these 5 vows are ahimsa or non-violence, from which naturally flows love for all, peace for all, harmony, space, and fraternity for all. Second is satya or truthfulness. Third is asteya or non-stealing, which applies even to fair dealings in business. Fourth is brahmacharya or celibacy. And the fifth is aparigraha or non-possessiveness, from which flows justice, equality for all, both. Now, these 5 vows act as the fundamental principles for living our daily life. And I personally also firmly believe that these 5 principles have not only contributed immensely through its teaching to global peace and harmony, but also by providing an enabling environment which is full of love, trust, justice, equality, and fraternity. This has been done by those who have not only been already following this as a religion, but also who are following, adopting the principles of Jainism in bits and pieces without even knowing that these are principles of preachings of a religion called Jainism. The entire culture, living, upbringing, etc., is impacted by these principles and code of conduct in many ways, such as leading a predominantly vegetarian lifestyle that avoids harm to animals and their life cycles. You must have been hearing people going vegan in the West, maybe in the America or some of these European countries. So it might be a new concept for them, but for us, this is part of our religion, and it has been professed for years and years, millions of years, from the day we had the first Tirthankara, that is Lord Rishabdev. Further, the anger, pride, deceit, greed, attachment, aversions, all these are, we all know, are terrible foes. One should be away from them. Avoid these are what I'm trying to say. These are things which we follow or try to follow in the normal course of our living. Avoid nocturnal meals, which is means we can't eat after sunset. Look the ground you tread upon, lest any injury may be done to any living being. Filter water and other liquids and then use them. Do not speak ill of anybody nor feel jealous. Avoid strifes and quarrels. Maintain mutual goodwill and do not do evil to anybody. Be delighted at the sight of virtuous. Be desirous of alloying and sufferings of the unhappy. Be friendly towards all living beings. By giving pain to others, one will have to experience bitter fruits. Therefore, one desiring happiness should make others happy first. In short, Jainism not only provides for and facilitates all important ingredients for fostering global peace and harmony, but it also believes in creating an enabling environment in such a manner that the believers of Jainism also follow and inculcate the basic philosophy, principles, tenets of Jainism, thus making themselves also a disciplined, self-controlled, rightful, humble, judicious person with compassion. To be able to make a just world which is conducive enough for giving a comfortable and righteous, peaceful and harmonious life where all can live peacefully and with brotherhood, first one needs to bring a change in oneself. Jainism teaches us to train our minds to subjugate the carnal desires of our human body. So the basic philosophy is, if I do the right things, you do the right things, he does the right things, she does the right things, all of us are on our own doing the right things. And the right things, as I have already mentioned, are some of the basic principles of the religion, which in turn are already fostering love, truthfulness, humanity, and love for each other, justice, harmony, peace, etc. Now, we
I think there's a technical error. So thank you, sir, for highlighting on the concepts of Jainism in depth, respect for the soul from the higher order to the microscopic, also contributing to the overall ideology of global peace and harmony. We appreciate your presence in this webinar. Thank you. We have come to the last presentation of the evening, and we have amongst us a vibrant young lady, Ms. Maria Dorothy. She is a student of BA Psychology, Literature and Political Science from St. Francis College for Women, Hyderabad. She is also the youth board member of the YWCA of Secunderabad. Over to you, Ms. Dorothy, to share your views and concepts of love, truth, justice, and equality in Jainism.
Thank you so much. Firstly, I'd like to thank Father Robbie and Chavra Cultural Center, Delhi, for giving me this opportunity of being on this panel today. It's an honor and privilege for me to talk about a religion I know very little about, but I have done my research, and thanks to Malini ma'am and Sanjay sir for sharing with us about Jainism. Mahavir Swami is known to be the last of the 30 Tirthankaras. It is said that when he was in his mother's womb, uh, he felt that his movements was causing discomfort to his mother, and so for him to feel that his mother should have the comfort, he stopped moving in her womb. But later then he realized that his lack of movements caused even more concern for his mother, and so he started moving again. This shows how compassion and understanding of pain started so early in Mahavir Swami's life. One of the concepts of Jainism that makes it stand out from the rest, for me, would be ahimsa, or non-violence, as we say. And the concept of ahimsa, the Jain concept ahimsa believes that all life is sacred, be it a human being, a wild animal, a domestic animal, an ant, or even the tiniest microorganism. Abstinence from killing others must be observed by mana, thoughts, vachana, words, and kaya, deeds. If this is not love, then what is? They believe in absolute truth and satya, which is also a part of the 5 main principles of Jainism. What inspires me the most is the true nature of Jainism, followed by the ascetics. For me, they are the true preachers of peace. If I have to speak of Jainism as a community, even though they are not much in number, they do make their presence felt in the society. For instance, in June 2020, Jains for Justice was founded by young Jains in the weeks following the murder of George Floyd in the West. Personally, I have seen how Jains as a community are so close-knitted, so well-knitted, and how they support one another in good times and in bad. And I wish and pray that one day we as a society may be able to reflect these golden principles of Jainism and live in peace and harmony. Thank you.
Thank you for highlighting the concept of compassion and justice, Dorothy. It was a real pleasure listening to you. Now, the floor is open for discussion. People, those who would like to comment or give your feedbacks, please feel free to unmute and speak.
I just want to inform Miss Maria that I'm also from Hyderabad, and my sister passed out from St. Francis College for Women. So there is some kind of a connection there.
That's very nice to hear,
And
sir.
Miss Malini, you have not only been very, very astute in what you kind of delivered, but your diction, your delivery, and the content was very heartwarming. And who knows, I shall continue to follow the principles set out by the ascetics of Jain community, thanks to you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Shariarji, for your firings. Anybody else?
Father, I see a question in the chat, which was perhaps meant for Mr. Sanjay Jain, but maybe I could respond to that.
Sanjay is again trying to join. I think Sanjay Jain, she has already joined. Is it the question to be answered by Sanjay Jain? Sanjay Jain ji, is it audible?
Yeah, if his network is good, he can answer. Otherwise, I can take it.
Otherwise, I think Malini ma'am can do that. Sanjay ji, is it audible to you? I don't think. I think there's a network problem. Please answer that.
Yeah, sure. The question from Mr. Prakash is, dear speaker, sir, you say Brahmacharyam is a requirement of life in Jainism. if that is the thing, how can the population of Jains grow? I think that's a very valid question coming from Mr. Prakash. I would like to lay out, actually, Mr. Sanjay Jain probably touched upon it briefly while speaking. There is one set of vows for the monks and the ascetics, which is very strict. And there is a subset of those vows for the householder. So in the case of householder, what applies is non-adultery. That is being loyal to your partner, your spouse, single partner, and being loyal to your spouse. Non-adultery would hold in the case of non-adultery. That's the difference. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Sanjay ji is on now.
Thank you, Madam ji, for your clarification.
Yeah. Thank you, Prakash ji. Anybody else to clarify anything or to ask questions? Rajan Bhaskar ji, want to ask anything?
Yeah. It's very good evening to you all and well conducted. And I'm honored so much. It's the first meeting that I'm attending and I'm watching this Zoroastrian promotion as well as Jainism. Sarva Dharma, it is that unique concept of universal well-being of the all, and the love, the kindness precedes the love, and this is how our universal concept of uniqueness of binding each other in humanity. And Dr. Prakash was mentioning about the brahmacharism, nothing but similar to our Hindu culture of Swami Ayyappa. It's brahmacharyam, as the madam was telling, Mrs. Malini, nothing but the icon of brahmacharyam is to hold the brahmacharism while you have the family life. The oneness on the family and oneness in the universal kingdom, that you binding to the family and the family well-being and way of living. And that is how that we, Indian culture, we imbibe, even though we have the secular healing and all the religions adopted and adopted it. And we have adoration, we have equality, justice, fraternity. But now a lot of polarization has taken place and all of us has to put a lot of effort to cement the binding, the love, the kindness, and the economic part of view. The haves and have-nots, what Madam has told, has to reach, and we have to bridge the gap. Thanks a lot for this opportunity.
Thank you, Rajan Bhaskar ji. Thank you so much. Rajan Bhaskar, I think he's from Coimbatore, actually, basically, closely associated with Divyodaya, one of the best interreligious culture centers of our congregation, led by very honorable Professor of Interreligious Dialogue, John Peter Father. And thank you so much, Rajan Bhaskar ji. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Anybody else? Anybody to comment or any clarification? Please unmute Rajan Bhaskar ji. Thank you. If not, Sharon, yeah, or Alan.
And now invite Mr. Alan Roy from Atmaram Santan Dharma College, Delhi, to propose the vote of thanks.
Could somebody please confirm if I'm perfectly audible?
Yes, you are.
Yes,
please go ahead.
Yeah. Good evening, everybody. I am deeply humbled to be proposing the vote of thanks on this auspicious evening. It's a privilege to be amongst an esteemed group of individuals, and to be able to listen to them is an enriching experience. First of all, I'd like to thank Sri Shreya D. Vakil for promoting the message of peace and harmony and illuminating to us to what the values that Zoroastrianism propagates and teaches. Secondly, I extend my gratitude towards Dr. Abraham Karikam for shedding the light on the importance of interreligious harmony. I also take this opportunity to thank Srimati S.P. Malini for giving us a glance into how Jainism came into being and the important duty that it carries out in today's consumerist world. I am grateful to Sri Sanjay Jain for highlighting the precepts of Jainism and teaching us about the core concept of ahimsa that is followed in Jainism. I also thank Sri Soman Baby for sharing his words of wisdom with us. I also take this opportunity to thank Ms. Hita Vora and Ms. Maria Dorothy for offering deep insights into the religion of Zoroastrianism and Jainism respectively. It was truly insightful. Lastly, I like to thank Chavra Cultural Center Delhi and Father Robbie Kandansira for executing and organizing the entire event flawlessly and spreading the message of secularism through such beautiful events. Also, I now take this opportunity to thank all the audience that was present here today for maintaining the sanctity of the event and participating in healthy discussions with one another. Thank you all once again.
Thank you, Alan. It was beautifully done. Thank you. And I would like to personally thank to all the chief guests, especially Sanjay Jain ji, because it was a long struggle to be entering the platform.
No, I just, if you permit me to intervene, if if anybody has some query and you think that it should be directed to me, if you permit maybe one or two questions, then I'm okay with it. Otherwise, it's up to you.
If anyone else to ask any queries, we can ask to him now, because he was well prepared for this session. Unfortunately, he could not enter at the right time at 6 o'clock. He was ready by 5:30, it seems, but couldn't enter there. And we were unknowingly, we were restricting this unknown entries because of that yesterday's event. Though we don't have large participants or so many participants, large group, today it was very pious and it was very convincing and it was very beautifully deliberated by everyone. And all the participants are really happy, and especially the students from different colleges and institutes, representatives from different nationalities. And I know that everyone is happy.
Sorry for my intervention.
Yes,
can I just take a minute? I had overheard somebody had raised a question about the population of Jains going down. Am I correct? Did I hear it correctly? Partially, I heard something.
Yeah, it was Brahmacharya. Malini has asked, answered the queries, but you can just express your clarifications.
Yeah. So, was the question that the population of the Jains is going down?
See, the question was this: you said Brahmacharya means the requirement of the life in Jainism. If that is the thing, how can the population of Jain grows? That is
the first few words are what? I couldn't hear it correctly.
How can the population of Jains grow? That is the question.
Okay, now it's a very, very interesting question. And I am happy that I intervened and I will be able to respond, because this will also clear some of the conceptual, at the conceptual level, people who are exposed to Jainism and partially or otherwise. See, one thing which is ingrained in our religion is that we don't force anybody to follow the religion. In fact, we don't even go outside our religion to profess that you or anybody should follow this religion. So basically, the Jains are there and they are the ones who keep.
I think there's a network fluctuation.
I'm back again.
Sorry, he's coming back. He's back.
So by virtue of having families, the families of the Jain community only, they are progressing. And as you know that the Jains, since they have so many principles, so they also follow the principle of having a limited family, not a very large family. So there is a problem that gradually it is decreasing. But the problem is not because it is hard religion. Those who are following the religion are following it by and large, they are trying to follow it. But because we don't propagate, then the second point is that propagation is normally done by the saints and the nuns. In our case, they have such a hard way of life to live that they are not able to travel large distances, because the moment they decide that they are becoming saint.
Sanjay
There is
ji,
a technical error.
you lost your
Take
connection,
time.
it seems.
Yes. Father, you can ask him to give his reply and we will
Yeah.
send the circulated
Okay,
to all
okay,
the
that will be
participants
fine,
later.
Prakash, okay, because since the time,
Yes.
we need to bring it down the end.
Yes, there is no we can take his response and circulate it to the members on our group.
Okay, 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 okay.
Right. Or can you provide his contact number?
Yeah, sure, I'll give you later. Sorry.
Right, right, Father. Thank you.
Okay, Sanjay ji, we can't hear you, and it's almost as we have to bring it to the final note. And I would like to inform you that tomorrow we are discussing Buddhism, and one speaker of Baha'i is from UK. We have two speakers for Buddhism tomorrow, and Venerable Monk from Bahrain and Venerable Ananda Pandey from Bangalore. And so we have panel discussions from St. Xavier's College, Patna, led by Reverend Dr. Tommy Nishant S.J., principal. And he has already sent the panels discussions. Tomorrow, we may have another good day with two religions. And day after tomorrow, the seventh day, we will have another two speakers from a Baha'i group, and so two speakers from Christianity. And we'll have a panel discussion also. And so I would appreciate all the participants with your friends to join in this noble venture tomorrow and day after tomorrow. And once again, thanking you, Shariar Wakilji, Sanjayji, Malini, Imam, and all the friends and our panelists, Hita K. Vora and Maria Dorothy, and our those who true felicitations we had today, Dr. Praham Garikam and Soman Baby sir. And thank you, Sharon Sampson, thank you, Denise sir and Sanu, and all the persons collaborated, and especially to one who has proposed a word of thanks, our Alan Roy, and all the participants from different parts of the world, Mr. Aditya sir from UK, and his team from UK Bristol Interfaith. And once again, wishing you all the blessings from love. Thank you so much.
Dear participants, those who wish to receive a participation certificate, the link would be shared in the chat box. Kindly fill the Google form to receive your participation certificate. You will receive it either by email or you can find it in your Google Drive. So those who wish to receive a participation certificate, please fill in the Google form link that is being shared in the chat box. May I request the participants to kindly rise up for the national anthem.